half, out to Totti on the right. Totti turns, goes back towards Bentley, keeps hold of the ball. It's out towards the near side from Bentley, and the head only away for a Manchester United throw. You can build possession midway inside the attacking half. Wolves just careless on the ball there, thrown in by Wan-Bissaka towards Anthony. Back again to Casemiro into the centre circle. Eriksen takes the ball forward and might go for the strike as well, and does, rising over the bar. Christian Eriksen with space to run into. Took a few touches on the ball as it dropped nicely to him. Ended up about 20 yards away. Just got underneath the ball and it flew over the bar. Erik ten Hag just keeping an eye on matters, with knowing that 3 of his last 4 games this season are at Old Trafford, with a fantastic unbeaten record. Manchester United, though, losing out on the ball as they played across the back dangerously. Wan-Bissaka had control, played it back to De Gea, who could only clear into the corner.
Unfortunately, due to rights
and Wolves have a very early set-piece opportunity from the corner here, given to them by Manchester United. Neto puts the ball down in the corner quadrant. Neves standing right next to him, might be offered for the short pass. Neto waiting for players to run forward. Dawson's in the box, lurking on the penalty area. Right arm goes up from Neto, and out swinging left-footed corner towards the edge of the penalty area. Clipped on as well by Dawson, of all players. And it sails over the bar and away for a goal kick. Wolves with a fantastic opportunity early on, gifted to them as well. Away for a goal kick to Manchester United, which they take short. Earlier on in the Premier League, Leeds United with a fantastic 2-2 draw against Newcastle, despite going down to 10 men, keeping their Premier League hopes alive. Goalless between Chelsea and Forest, Palace, Bournemouth, Southampton, Fulham, Aston Villa have taken an early lead against Tottenham Hotspur. Ramsey with the goal as Manchester United break forward. Anthony now on the edge of the area. Anthony goes for the left-footed curling strike. Not far away at all as Bentley was diving down. And Manchester United could there really have made it 1-0. Wolves had possession across the back and it was given away. Anthony with space to run into. Took his shot early. And it blazed wide. The Red Devils really are trying their best to get the early goal. It's not worked out well so far. Cleared forward by Bentley, chested down well by Casemiro. Lindelof goes back towards De Gea. Just scoops the ball out to the left-hand side, where Lindelof manages to keep hold of the ball. Totti putting some pressure on. Play back to Casemiro. Headed away by Martial, only back to Wan-Bissaka. De Gea now inside the 6-yard area, looks to clear away down the right-hand side, manages to find the ball over towards the halfway line. Totti now switches out to the left and will keep hold of the ball. Dawson wins it away as well. Played back by Neves to Dawson again. Lurched out towards the right-hand side. Semedo trying to turn away from Sancho. Back to Dawson once again as it's played into the path of Kilman. Ball squaring the ball across their own half at the moment, midway inside it. Approach the halfway line through Nunes. Out to Totti on this near channel. Played back again though by Lamina. Kilman all the way back to his goalkeeper Bentley. Wolves keeping possession but only inside their own half. Bentley goes for the long kick over halfway, almost headed on by Neves. Played forward by Manchester United once again, and capitalising is Martial. Overcomes Kilman just to keep the ball back in Wolves' possession. Kilman down this near side looking for the run of Neto, loses out in possession but it drops kindly back to Lamina once again. Lamina now plays out towards this near side. Totti. Further down towards Neto. Neto loses the ball and slips over. Eriksson wins it away. Martial, edge of the penalty area. Switched out to Sancho on the left-hand side, trying to play the ball down the line. Blocked away only as far as Eriksson. Lindelof now in the centre circle. Back to Casemiro once again. Through the centre, Manchester United, as Eriksson switches it out to the left. Short down towards Sancho. Gets himself onside as well, as he's been stood up by Semedo. Back to Shaw. Eriksson now turns towards halfway. Lindelof collects. He might go all the way back to his goalkeeper. Instead, cheekily squares across towards the path of Varane. Varane now bringing the ball forward for Manchester United. Down to the right-hand side. Wan-Bissaka couldn't keep the ball in play, and Wolves have themselves a throw. Early signs are there for Manchester United to open the scoring this afternoon, though Wolves have been gifted that opportunity after 8 minutes with the corner. 12 minutes gone, Manchester United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0 from Old Trafford. Totti with the ball in hand, ready to take the throw for the away side. Down the line trying to find the run of Nunes, chested off it. Played it well off Varane to win another throw for Wolves, just slightly further forward. Snap bang midway inside the defensive half for Wolves as they lose out possession again. Anthony plays a quick ball to Fernandes. Played over towards Sancho, with Shaw making the run on the left-hand side. Shaw now goes for the first time cross into the box. It's over the head of Martial, who was jumping in the air. Wolves managed to clear for now. Fernandes plays over the top towards Sancho once again. Clipped away by Semedo. Plays down the right-hand side. Back again, though, to Manchester United. Varane plays the ball forward. Eriksson with a quick 1-2. Fernandes over towards Anthony. Shifts the ball out to the right-hand side and does well to find Wan-Bissaka as well, in towards the path of Anthony. Takes the ball away from Totti. Anthony inside the penalty area on the right-hand side, down towards Wan-Bissaka. Squares the ball into the penalty area as Neves slipped over. No one was waiting. Varane heads back forward, and Totti just about manages to clear the ball away, only for a home throw-in. The attacking signs from Manchester United when they turn the pace on the ball as well. Anthony with a fantastic darting run, having picked up the ball in the centre, laid down to the left, got back up after falling over as well. Throwing goes to nothing as Manchester United play the ball into the centre. Wan-Bissaka gives away a free kick. Wolves play the ball across the back. Totti all the way to Bentley inside the 18-yard area. Dawson now picks up the ball on the right-hand side, looking to take it forward if he can. Goes through the centre. It's picked up well by Cunha. Towards Totti on the left, who of course got the only goal of the game at the Molineux last weekend. Cunha back to Lamina. Inside their own half here, Wolves, as they look to go forward once again. Sliding in is Diego Costa on halfway, losing out in possession and giving away a free kick in the process. Might just have hurt Anthony as he dropped down to the ground, and the yellow card is coming out here for Diego Costa early on. 15 minutes in, and the Wolves striker picks up the first yellow of the game. Anthony immediately waving for attention as he fell awkwardly to the ground. Diego Costa did go charging in. Anthony seems to be okay as he's back on his feet. Dawson now across his own back line, plays out wide towards Semedo down the right hand side and searching for Nunes. Blocked away for a Wolves throw as Mateus Nunes considers throwing forward, goes back towards Semedo once again, and further backwards where Lamina's waiting. Bentley clears the ball away as it drops into him inside his own penalty area, only as far as a Manchester United throw on the far side. Didn't want the ball, Daniel Bentley, as he indicates to his defenders in front of him. Martial shields the ball away for another throw on the far side. Neither team with a shot on target yet, though. 16 minutes into the game. Remember, you can keep up with all of the match stats on the Flash Score app as well. To go is to the statistics page to find out exactly what's going on. Manchester United with the ball on the edge of the penalty area. Casemiro stands on the ball and waits for a pass. Shaw now down towards Sancho. Bruno Fernandes as well waiting. Sancho can't keep the ball in play, and it rolls out for a goal kick. As well as stats, you can keep an eye on the lineup as well, if you want to know who's playing on the field. There's also a few stats about the recent head-to-heads between the two sides, and the last time Wolves won here was last season, a 1-0 win in January of 2022. It's not very often that Wolves win at Old Trafford. It's their first win since 1980 last season. Might be able to try and grab something here as they attack forward down the right-hand side. Semedo lays the ball off nicely, plays it backwards towards Neves. Neves with Lamina in the centre of the attacking half. Out to Neves on the right-hand side again. Switches out towards Kilman on this near side. Plays further down the line, and it's helped on towards Neto. Neto turns back to Totti. Kilman again into the centre circle. Neves out to the right-hand side, headed on well by Semedo, loses out on possession, but it drops back towards the path of Nunes, who wins it well for Wolves. Neves now into the centre circle as it drops into Wolves' own half once again. Kilman from trying to shuffle the ball down the left-hand side. Totti further down towards Neto.
Since 1980, as Martial is on the attack, tries to play the ball in low on the penalty area on that left-hand side, and it's cleared. And now Mateus will run out towards that far side, the right, midway through his own half, holds onto the ball, runs in field. Neves under pressure gives it away cheaply to Casemiro, but then it was straight back at Mateus for Wolves, who are back in possession. And it's a simpler ball this time, just to his left to find Neves, and he waits for Totti to join the attack, and he runs forward over the halfway line to the feet of Neto, 6 yards inside the United half. Now to the left of the centre circle to Lamina. Semedo gets forward on that far side, the right, and they'll eventually find Semedo by using Craig Dawson in the meantime.
Yeah, I mean, they are really calm. Another slip there over on the far side. It's happened a couple of times the Wolves players not necessarily got the right studs on.
Martial will try to benefit from that slip, and then he falls over himself, so a little bit greasy underfoot for both sets of players. Neves now will run forward, urged on by Lopetegui. He finds Neto on this near side, the left. Wan-Bissaka back pedals towards the penalty area. Neto delivers a ball in low, cleared by Varane. Neves, though, will play it back and just lays it forward towards Neto. Wan-Bissaka in front of him, doesn't attempt the cross this time, plays it back to Totti. He goes square and inside to Lamina. 20 minutes played and still 0-0.
Do you know, again, that calmness when they get there, but there's no cutting edge at the moment for Wolves. And you look at Diego Costa up front, you can't go beyond the defence. He's not got the pace to do that. So he needs to win the battle there. And at the moment, he's not getting a sniff of it. By the way, if you ever do go back to John Southall at Chelsea, could you ask him who's playing up front for Chelsea? Is it Sterling or is it Felix?
Well, we'll find out now, Pat.
Well, Pat, that is a very good question, and I can tell you that it is Raheem Sterling, and he has just missed the great chance through the middle for Chelsea. Forest lead by 1-0. Raheem Sterling through on goal. Absolutely no conviction in the shot, blocked by Joe Worrell. Chelsea 0, Forest 1.
Semedo down by the byline right-hand side, swings over across for Wolves, over the head of Diego Costa, formerly of Chelsea. Anthony back on defensive duties to Bruno Fernandes. They try and combine, but there is Lamina to help win it back. Last touch came off Totti. It'll be United throw, and on ball boy duties it's Eric Ten Hag, but it never went out of play in the Wolves half, so Casemiro is going to have to go back at least 6 yards.
Yeah, I mean, it is intriguing, you're right. I mean, United are probably slightly the better side, but there's not a massive amount of urgency. And when you consider how important this game is just now, in the widest sense, the top four, the difference that could make with players that they might be able to buy next season, and they might have new owners. What a massive game this is. Doesn't quite feel like it yet, does it, on that pitch?
It certainly doesn't. It remains 0-0. Not a great deal of urgency. The Manchester United supporters, some of them bathing in the sunshine, as here is Anthony once again coming in on that right touchline, passes the ball back. Now it's with Lindelof to Eriksson. Shaw quite high on that far side, the left. Back with Lindelof once again it goes. Lindelof passes the ball towards Varane. Wolves drop off. Varane will shoot, and that was a very ambitious effort, right-footed and screwed well wide for a goal kick. 0-0.
I'll translate ambitious, awful. It was absolutely terrible, wasn't it? Miles off target. Didn't catch anywhere near it as well. What the United fans usually do, there's a lot of applause just now, but what they usually do when they see their team not playing to the level they expect, what they tend to do is they lift on themselves. They might have to do that. Maybe a little reminder that the team who will get top four, if they don't get it, is likely to be Liverpool. That should raise them a bit.
Liverpool, who take on Leicester City on Monday. The referee will give a free kick to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Before that can be taken, we're going to go back to St Mary's. John Akers.
Southampton 0, Fulham 0 as Southampton come forward. They've just had a chance, their first of the game, from Onuachu, just starting his fourth game of the season. A right foot shot saved by Leno. Straight up the other end go Fulham, who've been on top so far. Vinicius with a volley block from 8 yards. Southampton 0, Fulham 0.
Well, we're midway through the first half here, and we're yet to have a serious shot on target. 0-0.
Yeah, not much close to it, really. I think the best chance did fall to Anthony, and that was from not great play, just from a slip from the Wolves central defence there. But just a moment there, Lindelof not getting a yellow card there when Diego Costa did for a not dissimilar challenge beforehand. I think he's a lucky boy in that one.
Referee John Brooks just having a stern talking to Lindelof, who makes his way back to the United back line as the free kick is taken short and quickly, and then it was Cunha who tried to whip over the cross from the right. Wolves will get a throw 6 yards up from the corner flag.
Terrible defence by Manchester United. Switched off. You can't switch off situations like that. It's about 40 yards out, the free kick's been taken, and then you can play it to a player in the box who's got no one near him. You've got to have more concentration than that.
Remember, in the top flight, Aston Villa are ahead, leading Tottenham by 1-0 at Villa Park. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1 is the big scoreline so far this afternoon of the 3 o'clock games. No goals at Selhurst Park or indeed at St Mary's. So as it stands, Southampton will be relegated, and also no goals here between Manchester United and Wolverhampton Wanderers. But Wolves have got a throw on the right-hand side for what is an extremely quiet Old Trafford at the moment, apart from the singing travelling contingent away towards our right,
who are making that very point themselves.
And Neto wins a corner. You're on good form today, Pat.
Yep. Well, Wolves want to be in good form just now because they've got a couple of corner kicks, haven't they? They've got themselves into slightly dangerous areas. The delivery hasn't been good, apart from the first one where they had a volley at the near post. I wonder if they'll get something else up their sleeves here for this next one.
Well, it's a corner kick on the right-hand side. Manchester United have got everybody back. It's an away swinger, and it's easily headed out by Lindelof inside that Manchester United penalty area. Comes back to Lamina. Sometimes you make subtle remarks, and sometimes less so subtle. We're going to get an update from Pat Murphy at Villa Park.
Villa still beating Tottenham 1-0, but the Villa fans held their breath. Son beat the offside trap. We all thought it's got to be a formality. Took it around the keeper, hit the post. Follow-up shot from Kane, saved, and then anticlimactically, the linesman, the referee, woke up and they gave offside. It's still Villa 1, Tottenham 0.
And what about at Stamford Bridge, John Southall?
Still Chelsea 0, Forest 1. Forest looking for a second though. Danilo on the left of the penalty area, shot blocked by Chalobah, and Lodi's just smashed one over the bar. Chelsea 0, Forest 1.
They'll be hoping for better fortune than the last time that they went to West London, where they were leading, and then in the end they got mugged at the end by Brentford and ended up losing by 2-1. But as it stands, looking to go 5 points clear of the relegation zone. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1. No goals at Palace, no goals at Southampton, no goals here, but Manchester United have been awarded a free kick not too far away from the left corner of the box.
Yeah, there's complaints that Bruno Fernandes has gone down too easily. I don't agree with that. On this occasion, I think he had his foot trodden on. It's in a dangerous area, about, as you say, 5 yards out, but I mean it very, very wide. It's one of those ones you don't practice this one too often from that sort of angle. So we'll see if Bruno Fernandes can fashion something from there.
So Bruno Fernandes carefully places the ball down. It's 24 yards out from goal. Wolves have everybody back inside their penalty area. It's a direct free kick. Fernandes with his arms down by his side, focused, concentrated, runs forward now, right-footed, moves in the air. Bentley did well actually to hang on to that. The debutant for Wolves onto his toes, moved one step away to his right and caught the ball.
Of course, that's what you should be doing. I mean, he's a new goalkeeper, it's his first start for the team this season. You've got to try it, you know. So, okay, it's from a distance out, it's good time to see it, but it was vicious, it was whipped. Not enough into the corner, but he's actually caught it rather than palmed it. Well done.
Assured handling from Bentley. Back to Fernandes, who'll go again. This time he strikes the back of the legs of Sancho. Comes out to Eriksson, who hits it. And Eriksson, right-footed. He was a little bit further out. Must have been closer to 30 yards out. Bentley had it covered. And it one bounce, and he marshalled the ball out for a goal kick. Now at Tannadice, Dundee United have equalised at home to bottom of the table Ross County. Dundee United 1, Ross County 1. And Alloa in that championship playoff, although they're still leading at Hamilton by a goal to nil, 2-0 on aggregate, they are now down to 10 men because George Stanger has been sent off. Bentley prepares to take the goal kick. 5 Live and BBC Sounds and the World Service 0-0 here.
Much better from Manchester United. They get a couple of shots at goal now. They're asking a couple of questions. They should be doing that. A goalkeeper, you know, it's just, as I say, who's just on board there. It's far out and they're the only ones being on target, but it's a better attitude that Manchester United have shown in these last 4 or 5 minutes.
And what about Wolverhampton Wanderers, bearing in mind we are watching the lowest scorers in the Premier League this season?
Yeah, I mean, that's the game plan, isn't it? They play in the break when they possibly can. That hasn't particularly worked well this season, certainly away from home. But you look at Lopetegui, he needed to get the home form sorted, didn't he? He got that sorted. That's kept him safe. He wanted to build on that. This is a good chance to build on it. You know, learn how to play away from home and make some capital out of these corner kicks again.
Well, they've got a corner now on this near side, the left. It's Neto to take it. He swings it away out of the penalty area, only as far as Mateus. Mateus a little bit off balance, but it will still nevertheless run through to Neto on the left-hand side, delivers a right-footed cross towards the far post, and Totti won't keep that ball in play, and it will drift out for a goal kick, and it remains Manchester United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, and it's been a disappointing game so far. To St Mary's we go. John Akers.
Southampton 0, Fulham 0. Southampton have to win, and Fulham have just had a big shout for a penalty turned down. Definitely handball by Lianco back there defending. Went for the header, missed it, hit his arm, but the VAR, Tony Harrington, had a look, and the referee wasn't asked to go over and check it. Thomas Bramall. Still Southampton 0, Fulham 0.
Manchester United are attacking. Bruno Fernandes, central position. He's got runners to the left and to the right. He goes to the left to find Sancho, who almost wobbled himself. He finds Martial, gets the shot away, takes a deflection, headed away by Totti. Casemiro can't lay it off towards Eriksson, cleared away by Cunha dropping back. Lindelof plays it in low. Shaw is going to shoot. That was blocked. Comes out to Sancho, edge of the area, enters the box. On the overlap now is Shaw. Stands over the cross, and the header from Anthony. Close range, couldn't keep it down. What a chance. Best chance of the game by far. He heads it over 0-0.
Well, I think he's had both the best chances of the game. Once, not quite through, and a goalkeeper but from 20 yards out, couldn't curl it in. That one, I mean, there is always the excuse that wingers aren't always the best in the air, but back post there, he's got to nod that down, keep it on target. That is a huge miss there. He should at least get it on target. In reality, he should score that.
Speaking from experience?
Absolutely.
Back to Stamford Bridge. What a scoreline this is. John Southall.
Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Remember, Forest 2 points above the bottom 3 as it stands. Chance for Chelsea. Lewis Hall on the left of the area, 12 yards out. His shot blocked. And Pat, since we last spoke, Felix has now moved into the middle. The two of them just interchanging there. Chelsea 0, Forest 1.
Here is Sancho, forward for Manchester United. Tried to roll it out to the right to Anthony. That was blocked again. Wolves are defending well. This is a Wolves side that have kept 4 clean sheets in their last 6 games. They're well organised. Is there going to be a stoppage in play? They were just having a look there at Cunha, who was holding his head, but he's back to his feet. John Brooks has actually played the advantage there, as Wolves are now forward, and Neto has switched temporarily towards that right-hand side. Wolves are attacking. Diego Costa has made that run out towards the corner flag. He plays it back to Semedo, who's behind him. And now Wolverhampton Wanderers midway through the Manchester United half, still 0-0. 14 minutes to go to half-time. And Neves back with Dawson. And Dawson will go all the way back to Daniel Bentley and means we can check in at Bolton. Will Perry.
Bolton 0, Barnsley 0, end-to-end. Johnston's had a shot cleared off the line by Barnsley defender Kitching. Connell stung the hands of Trafford in the Bolton goal, who's also denied Tedic, and Phillips has just smashed one narrowly over for the visitors. Bolton 0, Barnsley 0.
Manchester United's remaining fixtures, bearing in mind, as hold on, here is Bruno Fernandes, forward ball, Anthony into the penalty area, Anthony squares it, and Martial scores. Anthony, so unselfish, and Martial wasn't going to squander that one, and he buried the ball into the back of the net, and Manchester United lead Wolves by a goal to 0.
Yeah, it was a decent break. Not a great defender, and it has to be said, but you're right, Martial, he's just sitting there, it's a tap in, it's the easiest win in the world, but Anthony, he's missed 2 chances so far, he's gone through and goal, he's 1-on-1 with a keeper. You're thinking, are you going to try it yourself here? You're absolutely right, he did the right thing, passed it in when most defenders, most attackers and himself would probably have usually went for goal there. He didn't, probably because he'd missed those 2 chances. Pass it to Martial, he could have scored with his eyes shut. Excellent finish.
At first I was thinking, and it looks like he's onside, Anthony, that there will be the customary VAR check, but extremely unselfish, wasn't it, for him just to square the ball?
If they're going to be harsh on him, it was on his right foot, so there's no way he's going to shoot with his right foot. But no, you do the right thing there in that situation, and you know he's got the vision to know where Martial is. And Martial, who's had very, very little impact in this game so far, has just had the biggest impact of all.
It's only his 8th goal of the season, although in saying that he's probably missed half of Manchester United's matches this season through injury. And 13 minutes before half-time, Manchester United are leading Wolves by a goal to 0, and the 10 men of Alloa have now got a second goal at Hamilton as the ball runs away from Fernandes and out for a goal kick. So 1-0 here to the home side, and the last we heard from Pat Murphy, that was the case at Villa Park too.
Should be 2-0 though, but Forster in the Tottenham goal, magnificent save just now, stretching one-handed to his left. Watkins set up Bailey, should have scored, but what a great save. On top of that, McGinn's been booked for a foul on Kane. Words, Aston Villa 1, Tottenham 0.
Spurs got their first win in 5 against Crystal Palace, as Aston Villa, after back-to-back defeats, are looking to return to winning ways. Remember, Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1, Crystal Palace 0, Bournemouth 0, Southampton 0, Fulham 0, and Manchester United, with this win, would move level with Newcastle on 66 points. So Liverpool would be 4 points behind those 2 sides, and they would have all played 35 games. Let's go back to Selhurst Park. Mas Faruqi.
0-0 here, but there was a VAR check for a possible red card for Anderson for violent conduct as the corner came in from the right for Palace. His fist connected with Lerma's nose. The Bournemouth player went down. No red cards, said the VAR officials. Palace 0, Bournemouth 0.
Newcastle United will stay third though as it stands because of their far superior goal difference over Manchester United, who are leading 1-0. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, just with Wolves just now, the real worry for them is they don't seem to have any pace to get beyond that United defence. So they get into positions, they might get a corner kick or something out of it, but other than that, they just haven't looked in any way dangerous at all. And United now look much more relaxed now that they've got that goal.
Manchester United then with the slender lead through this man Martial, left corner of the area to Sancho. No Rashford today, not involved. A leg injury. He didn't oversleep this time. If you recall, when they played back at Molineux, he was dropped to the bench after missing that team meeting through oversleeping. Who would ever do such a thing? As the ball goes back with Lindelof towards David De Gea. Before you can say anything, we're going to John Southall.
Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1, but a chance for João Felix. Lovely ball in from Lewis Hall on the left-hand side. He was unmarked, but his header was a comfortable save for Navas to his left-hand side. Chelsea 0, Forest 1.
Well, we're going racing very, very soon to Lingfield, where earlier Eternal Hope won the Oaks trial. It'll be the Derby trial next up. Eternal Hope is something that many football fans, of course, can relate to at this time of the season, as the ball is forward to Cunha. He was tugged back a little bit there by Eriksson. The referee's twice actually played the advantage, and then at the third time he was brought to ground. He shows a yellow card to Casemiro. I've got to say, I feel a little bit unfortunate there for Casemiro, because there was 2 fouls on Cunha before he eventually stopped him in his track.
And I think the 2 fouls on him were worse than the one on Casemiro. Eriksen one was a drag back. Casemiro comes over at the end there, and because he's the final one, he's the one that has to get the card. Harsh on him.
Wolves trail 1-0 here at Old Trafford. Villa 1, Tottenham 0, Chelsea 0, Forest 1. Wolves with Dawson in the centre circle. Out to the right it goes. Neto's actually stayed on that right, so he's switched now with Mateus. That's a permanent switch made by Julian Lopetegui, the Wolves coach, who has steered Wolves to safety, as Pat quite rightly says, primarily with their form at Molineux. 29 of their 40 points have come at home. Bentley in goal. Plays it short and square. Manchester United drop off, and in the sunshine, for what at times has been played at a rather sedate pace, they play the ball out from the back. And as promised, this is the Derby trial at Lingfield. Your commentator as ever, John Hunt.
And all eyes here on Military Order, who's the hot favourite for this afternoon's trial and is joint favourite as things stands for the Derby itself in 3 weeks' time. But he's now got to underline his immense potential. He's buried away in the pack here, 5th place, close up with half a mile left to go. Regal Empire's the leader. Waipiro is towards the wide outside, and Inquiring Minds even wider. Then creeping closer, Military Order. Military Order's joined by Nadawi on the inside. The Royal Runner, the King's Circle of Fire, settled last of all, but well in touch, and now starting to move forward as Think First, the rank outsider, drops away. A lovely gap appears on the inside for Military Order, and he looks like he's in the mood to take it. Waipiro is the one who chases him into the home straight. Military Order and Waipiro, the two have drawn impressively clear. Military Order having to work though to put this to bed, and Waipiro's giving him loads to think about here. Half a furlong left to go. Military Order just in front from Waipiro. Circle of Fire back in 3rd place. It is Military Order who wins. He's won by a length and a half from Waipiro. The nice thing about that race, Ian, was that they pulled about 6 lengths clear of the 3rd horse, Circle of Fire. He wasn't wildly impressive, but you would imagine Military Order is Epsom bound in 3 weeks' time for the Derby.
Thank you very much, John. I'm sure there might be further reflections on the day's racing at Lingfield in Sports Report. A full hour from 5 o'clock with Mark Chapman, the results and the reaction throughout the afternoon from 5. You haven't missed anything whilst we've been away. Still 1-0 to Manchester United. Villa 1, Tottenham 0. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1. No goals at Palace or Southampton. Now a 3:30 kick-off in the National League playoff final at Wembley, and there's been an early goal. Chris Coles.
And an early goal for Chesterfield, who take the lead from the penalty spot. They've had an excellent start to the game. Andrew Dallas fouled by Sam Slocum, the goalkeeper. Dallas himself stood up, took the penalty straight down the middle, and it's advantage Chesterfield with 8 minutes play. Chesterfield 1, Notts County 0.
And Hamilton have got a goal back. Hamilton won the 10 men of Alloa 2 in the Scottish Championship playoff, and that means that it's 3-1 on aggregate to Alloa, but of course they are down to 10 men. Pat.
Yeah, just we have to talk about it slightly, what we were doing on Wednesday night. Was it 76,000 people?
I didn't sleep in.
Yeah, no, for once. And everyone's screaming like the whole way through it. There's the same or maybe more people here today. It's bordering on silent for long periods, isn't it? And this is a very, very important game.
Well, something to keep us alive is a goal at Selhurst Park of Mas Faruqi.
First shot on target all match. First goal for Palace. Palace 1, Bournemouth 0. Eze scorer, but all the hard work done in the build-up down the left-hand side from Wilf Zaha. Palace 1, Bournemouth 0.
Hamilton 2, Alloa 2 is now our latest score in that Scottish Championship playoff, and there's been a try in the Premiership semi-finals at Saracens. Adam Whitty.
Off to a thrilling start. Saracens have taken the lead after 6 minutes. Alex Good's glorious grubber kick bobbled and bounced into the hands of the on-rushing Sean Maitland, who cut inside to score. Farrell converts, so it's Saracens 7, Northampton 0, 8 minutes gone.
And commentary of that continues on 5 Sports Extra. St Mirren are leading Hearts by a goal to 0 in the Scottish Premiership. It means that Hamilton goal, by the way, that Alloa now with only 10 men are leading 3-2 on aggregate. And I think that means that we're up to date so far here on BBC Radio 5 Live. As Fernandez forward wins a corner kick before the corner to St Mary's, John Akers.
one off the line. It was Willian, left foot. It was dropping, angle, close range. It was headed off the line with the keeper beaten. Southampton 0, Fulham 0.
Ericsson then to take a corner kick for Manchester United. 4 minutes to go to half-time, leading by a goal to 0. In the race for Champions League football for next season, Ericsson right up against the advertising hoardings on that far side. Wolverhampton Wanderers have every one of their grey shirts back. It's going to be swung in by Ericsson. Takes a little touch there off Lindelof, and then another deflection, and it required Bentley to react very, very quickly. It was looping and dropping into his goal before he's fisted it behind.
Yeah, one of those ones where, you know, he's in a bad position, but through no fault of his own. But he manages to make himself very big, gets behind it. I wonder if it would have hit the crossbar, but he couldn't take that sort of chance. And to be honest, he's actually impressed Bentley today. He's had 3 or 4 things to do. Nothing he could do about the goal at all. But 3 or 4 other things he's had to do, he's done really impressively.
I remember seeing him back in the day when he was at Southend United for an FA Cup day at Roots Hall. He's since been to Brentford before going to Ashton Gate, and now at Molineux. Corner taken short on the right-hand side. Hasn't been effectively dealt with just as yet, as the header then from Varane is picked up by Bentley, and he's hurled that. He's actually thrown it into the Manchester United half. That's where the first bounce was, but what running back that was from Shaw. Stride for stride with Neto, made the sliding challenge, because otherwise De Gea was exposed.
Yeah, usually when you get a 1-for-1 and it's a foot race and you think we can't afford to lose it, and then you see the number, it's 23 Shaw, and you think, yeah, he'll get there. And he did, because he's got just phenomenal pace.
Here is Lamina back with Dawson. Just over 2 minutes remaining in normal time here at Old Trafford. The story of the afternoon, though, is at Stamford Bridge, where Nottingham Forest still lead by a goal to 0. As now it's with Kilman. He's going to join the attack from defence. Looked like he was going to shoot at one stage. He's been caught in possession, but Kilman then helps win it back. Out towards Totti. Totti towards Kilman. He's overhit that. To Villa Park we go, Pat Murphy.
1-0 Villa. Should be more, though. 2 lovely moves. Luiz to Marino. Terrific low cross. Watkins diving header missed. Just now Buendia hit the top of the bar. Again, great work from Marino. Will they regret this, missing these chances, Villa? They lead Tottenham 1-0.
If it's tight between Hamilton and Alloa in the Scottish Championship playoff semi-final, it's certainly not the case in the other one. Falkirk 0, Airdrie 1. Those diamonds are shining brightly as they now lead 7-2 on aggregate with that goal just before half-time. BBC Radio 5 Live, here's Pat Nevin.
Yeah, if you're a Wolves fan, you're thinking, can you get Neves into the game? You know, he's not actually held the ball, he's not done anything special yet, but you know he is capable of it. However, a break now.
Mateus on the overlap. Totti enters the penalty area. His cross was blocked by Varane. Real boost for United to have Varane back in the side after missing the last 7 games. Out it goes for a Wolves throw.
Yeah, you had to be good there. That's the first time they got to the byline there, on the left-hand side. Again, another player slipping, which led to that opportunity there for Wolves. But, you know, they've done okay. But to be fair, this doesn't look like a team that's having to fight too much, does it? Not exactly going through the motions, but it's not a fighting, battling performance that you would see from a team down the bottom of the league.
So on such a gorgeous day, as Wolves were awarded a free kick, the reason that the players are slipping, the ground staff have overwatered the pitch?
Yeah, I was down there beforehand doing a piece to camera, and they were watering it from 12:30. So, you know, I think they were expecting a lot more sunshine than we've got. Hey, the sunshine's there, it's just a bit weak.
Well, this Wolves free kick is just a few yards away from the left corner of the area. There's going to be 2 minutes of added on time, which we're going to go into in about 5 seconds. The board is yet to go up. Wolves are trailing by a goal to 0 here at Old Trafford. There indeed is the board from the fourth official, who is Andre Mariner down there. As Neto swings over the free kick, it hasn't been dealt with. It's eventually cleared only as far as Dawson, heads it back on the edge of the area. Flick headed by Totti, headed away by Wan-Bissaka. There is a crowd inside Old Trafford as Mateus swings over the cross. That was a ball that Neves couldn't control, and Anthony will bring it away. And Anthony's strong running now, and then Anthony shrugs off the challenge of Neto. Referee plays the advantage. Anthony again, he's got support with Sancho. He didn't find Sancho, he went to go it alone. Instead he finds Martial, whose scooped effort is straight at Bentley. If he releases the ball earlier, solely Sancho is in.
Yeah, I mean, it is quite frustrating watching him play there, because Anthony's pace was brilliant. He was brave as well. He's flown up that wing there. He's torn the defence apart, and then makes the wrong call. You need to know when to make that pass. It might only be available for a second, but you need to be able to see it. On that occasion, once again, he wasn't able to see it.
Aston Villa 1, Tottenham 0, Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1, Crystal Palace 1, Bournemouth 0, Southampton 0, Fulham 0, 1-0 to Manchester United here, going around the grounds for further detail with Mark Chapman at half-time on BBC Radio 5 Live. And if you're listening to Sports World, likewise with Lee James on the World Service.
You have to be very careful in Manchester United, don't they? Because these are the games that can be like this. You know, it can be 1-up, you can feel as if you're cruising. It only takes one chance, it only takes one mistake, it only takes giving away a penalty kick, and you know their season could be completely changed here. They need one more goal, then they can completely relax.
Casemiro switches play. Martial coming in off that left touchline. The ball won't go with him. Now it will. Tries to roll it in. Sancho pulls it back. Fernandes hits it first time outside the area, right-footed. And there indeed is the half-time whistle. But I can tell you that Hamilton, who are now leading Alloa by 4 goals to 2. So that sending off of George Stanger has really cost Alloa, because at one stage they were 3-0 up on aggregate, but they are now trailing 4-3 on aggregate in that Scottish Championship playoff. Half-time though here at Old Trafford, and Manchester United leading through that goal from Martial 13 minutes before half-time. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, and it is deserved. They have been the better side without being absolutely fantastic. I mean, he'd been getting into great positions, and to many ways he might be the story of the first half, Anthony. He's not always made the best of it, but when he needed to make that pass, he made that pass, and that's why at the moment United, without playing brilliantly, look on target for those 3 points.
Half-time in the sunshine at Old Trafford. Manchester United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0.
Should have sent you to that Hamilton game really this afternoon, shouldn't we? Really, I mean, two goals in a minute for them to go from 2-2 and 3-2 down on aggregate to 4-2 and 4-3 up on aggregate. It's flat, isn't it, Pat?
Yeah.
It's the whole thing is flat. The football feels like everybody's taking an extra touch than they need to, and the crowd are having an afternoon in the sun. All
right, I'll try and do the excuses bit here. Look, end of the season, there's been a lot of games in Manchester United. You know, they have looked as if they've tired. You know, the European campaign certainly had an effect on them. They've not got Rashford there up front. That makes a difference as well. But you know as well as I do, and every Manchester United fans know, it's top 4. It's the Champions League. That's what this is all about. Liverpool, of all teams, Liverpool are on your heels. They beat you 7-0. And, you know, don't give them anything else, anything to sniff at all. So I expected a lot more from Manchester United, even though you do understand that it is slightly soporific around here. You know, it is that warm day we're talking about. That's not a good excuse, and neither are any of the others. They've got to win this game.
Second half on the way, but I promise we'll keep a big eye on Hamilton Alloa as well during the second half. Ian, Pat, for the moment, thank you very much. As things stand, Southampton are down. We'll go to St Mary's in a moment, but Nottingham Forest have given themselves a big chance of survival after that first 45 minutes at Stamford Bridge. John Southall.
They have. What a half for Nottingham Forest. They lead Chelsea by 1-0, and Forest now 45 minutes away from what will surely be a season-defining 3 points. The goal after 13 minutes, Taiwo Awoniyi, 8th of the season, 7th in the league. A real mess from Chelsea. Edouard Mendy back in goal for the first time since the 12th of November. Came from a Roddy cross on the left-hand side. Got nowhere near it. Awoniyi got between the 2 defenders, Mendy and Badiashile, and headed in. Huge goal for Forest. Terrible one for Chelsea to give away. Sterling and Hall have both had shots blocked. Felix also had a header well saved by Neves, but Chelsea have been very poor again. Booed off at half-time, and you have to say now, what a chance this is for Forest to get 3 points. They've only had 28% possession, but they've looked well organised, and they've been fairly comfortable. And it's Chelsea 0, Forest 1.
Let's go to St Mary's then. John Akers.
Southampton 0, Fulham 0. Pretty uneventful as it stands. Of course, Southampton are relegated. They need to win this game. They barely laid a glove on Fulham in this one. Fulham have had the best chances. Vinicius with a volley, blocked at close range, a big shout for a penalty, looked like it did strike the hand of Lianco, and then Willian with a volley cleared off the line with a header. Need to be better in the second half. Need a goal, or they are relegated today. Southampton 0, Fulham 0.
Villa going level on points with Tottenham as things stand. Pat Murphy.
They deserve it. They're leading 1-0. Tottenham are rubbish in this first half. They must be better in the second half. Villa outstanding. Their only worry is they've only got one goal to show for it. A combination of Forster's excellent goalkeeping, Buendia hitting the top of the bar, and one or two sweet moves just falling down at the wrong moment. The goal came early. Ramsey converting. Excellent work by Bailey. Should have been more. Tottenham yet again conceding an early goal in a league match. Villa 1, Tottenham 0.
One goal in it at Selhurst Park as well. Maz.
Yeah, Palace 1, Bournemouth 0. Energy levels haven't been the highest at times in the game, which obviously means very little. And we had to wait 6 minutes before the break, for the first shot on target by either side, which brought the goal. Ebere Eze with his 9th of the season. The ball was laid to him by Ayew. All the work, though, done by Zaha in the build-up. He fed the ball into the area after beating several Bournemouth players. Elise and Zaha have both flashed wide with chances. There's also a VAR check after Anderson's fist connected with Lerma, but I think it was accidental by the Palace man. Palace 1, Bournemouth 0.
Earlier in the Premier League finish, Leeds 2, Newcastle 2. Let's go into the League One playoffs. Bolton against Barnsley. Will Perry.
Bolton 0, Barnsley 0. Chances for both sides. Charles firing a Kachunga cross narrowly over the bar for Bolton. Johnston's had a shot cleared off the line by the Barnsley defender Kitching. Connell's forced Trafford into a save in the Bolton net. He's also kept out Tedic and Cadden for the visitors, with Phillips and Cole hitting efforts high and wide. Both will be hopeful of getting the advantage ahead of Friday night's second leg, with the winners taking on Peterborough or Sheffield Wednesday at Wembley. Bolton 0, Barnsley 0.
National League playoff final is at Wembley, and goodness me, Notts County had a nervy start. Chris Coles.
They really have, Mark. They're 1-0 down to Chesterfield, could be 2. Chesterfield are on top. 23 points separated the two teams in the league. But the favourites, who finished second, they look nervy. They're yet to build a meaningful attack, and there's a real sense of déjà vu. They've been here before in the playoffs, and they'll need another come-from-behind win if they're to go up. Chesterfield have a 1-goal lead, and it's thoroughly merited with 22 minutes played.
We're at the playoff stage in the Gallagher Premiership. Saracens finished top of the regular season. Northampton 4th. Adam Whitty.
Saracens 7, Northampton 3 with 20 minutes gone in a frantic semi-final so far. Sean Maitland's converted try for Sarries and a Finn Smith penalty for Saints to score so far. But we've had a first period full of spillages, turnovers, mazy runs. It's been brilliant. Saints, though, need to do better with the Sarries high kicks. Otherwise, they've got no hope of shocking the host Saracens. Saracens 7, Northampton 3, 20 minutes gone.
So here are your other half times then. In the Scottish Premiership, in the bottom half, Dundee United won, Ross County won. Ross County had taken the lead there, and if they were to win, they would go off the bottom of the table. Dundee United would drop to the bottom of the table. Kilmarnock 0, Livingston 0, and St Johnstone 0, Motherwell 0. In the top half of the table, the title already decided, of course, and it's gone to Celtic, but they lost the Old Firm earlier, beaten at Ibrox by 3 goals to 0. It's goalless between Aberdeen and Hibs, and Hearts trail at St Mirren by 2 goals to 0. We've been talking about the playoffs. In the playoffs for the Championship in Scotland, Hamilton have come from 2-0 down at home to 10-man Alloa to lead 4-2 at half-time, and that's 4-3 on aggregate. In the other game in that, it's Falkirk 0, Airdrieonians 1. That is all but settled, with Airdrieonians leading 7-2 now on aggregate. In the League One playoffs, this is the battle to either get into or stay in League One. It's Dumbarton 0, Annan 0. Although Annan won the first game of the first leg of that tie by 6 goals to 0. And in the battle to get into League Two, it is the Spartans 0, Albion Rovers 1. In the Rugby Championship playoffs, Stormers 24, Connaughts 13 at half-time. And in Super League earlier, St Helens 26, Salford 12 is how it finished. 5-4, here's Jill McKenzie.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The Department for Transport and the Rail Delivery Group, which represents train operating companies, have accused the RMT union of blocking a negotiated settlement to their dispute. They say the union's leadership has failed to put their latest pay offer to members. The RMT is staging another walkout today and says it's always open to further talks. Ukraine's President Zelensky is at the Vatican for an audience with Pope Francis. Earlier, he met Italy's political leaders in Rome, including Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, who pledged her full support to Ukraine. Plaid Cymru has appointed an interim leader, Clear Griffith. He takes over from Adam Price, who stood down after a review found a toxic culture within the party. And fans are gearing up for the final of the Eurovision Song Contest, which will start in Liverpool in a few hours. 26 acts will be vying for the title, with the UK's May Muller giving the final performance.
5 Live Breakfast.
In golf, the fallout from the controversial breakaway Live Tour continues. 26 players have been hit with fines and bans from the European Tour for playing in events run by the Saudi-backed Live Tour last year, with financial penalties ranging from £12,500 to £100,000. Players have been suspended for up to 8 tournaments. Our golf correspondent Ian Carter joins us now.
The punishments are only arriving now because the whole process has had to go through an appeal hearing, which the verdict of that came in April. We're losing big names from the European Tour. Lee Westwood, Ian Poulter, Sergio Garcia, Richard Bland, they all resigned last week from the Tour. Henrik Stenson, since the announcement of these new punishments, has gone as well.
Rachel Burden and Rick Edwards. 5 Live Breakfast. Weekday mornings from 6.
This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman.
Let's go back to Sarries against Northampton. Adam Whitty.
Where Saracens have got a second try, as does Sean Maitland. The hosts extending their lead over Saints to 14-3 with 24 minutes gone. Owen Farrell, the ringleader, his kick through, finding the Scotland international on the left, who dotted down in the corner. Sarries pulling away already. 24 minutes gone. Saracens 14, Northampton 3.
All counties in action in the county championship this weekend. Kevin Howells is at the Oval.
Some of the main stories, including here at the Oval this afternoon. Middlesex now with a very big challenge on this third afternoon. The champion Surrey all out for 380, a first innings lead of 171. Jamie Smith with a 97. Some late order runs from Sean Abbott and Dan Worrell as well. The London rivals now second innings, 25 for no wicket, but the ball is doing all sorts for Robson and Stoneman, the opening pair. Some headline smells where Johnny Bairstow made 36 for Yorkshire, second innings away to Durham chasing 246 for victory. They're 82 for 2. Result in from Cardiff, big win for Glamorgan over Worcestershire by 10 wickets, and a result in Division 1. Warwickshire going very well this season. They needed only 100 runs to beat Essex in Birmingham. They got there, but just the 4 wickets left.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Let's go back to the Premier League. Earlier it finished Leeds 2, Newcastle 2. Luke Ayling putting Leeds ahead. Patrick Bamford then had a penalty saved to make it 2-0. Callum Wilson then scored twice from the spot, so that put Newcastle in front. Rasmus Christensen equalised to earn a point for Leeds, but it keeps them in the bottom 3. Towards the end of the game as well, a Leeds fan entered the technical area and pushed Eddie Howe. Howe said afterwards, "I don't know if I had time to be fearful, but it certainly makes you think, what if? No one should have to face that." As far as the game itself is concerned, this is what he said post-match.
Yeah, strange game. From the low of conceding and conceding the penalty, potentially going 2-0 down, to then the highs of going 2-1 up. We couldn't see the game out. So ultimately feel disappointed now, but that could be a big point for us.
Absolutely. In the cold light of day and time, to avoid defeat might be crucial here today.
Yeah, it might be. You just don't know. And I think that's where sometimes you have to take what you're given. I thought we were okay today without being our very best. And in this league, you know, we've learned this season that you have to hit your best levels to win.
Fine margins, as you say, you expected that fast start. They could have been 2-0 up. Suddenly you were 1-1.
Yeah, so game swings on huge moments, and Popey's made a massive save for us. He's done that all season, so that was a huge moment in this game today. And then we got our penalties in between. I thought we could have done better maybe around their box, but we just couldn't see the game out. I was disappointed to concede from that corner.
I know you, so there's no point in me saying you only need 6 points because you'll want 9. But that's the challenge, is it?
We're after 9 because that's how you have to be. We know we've got difficult fixtures. We look forward to Brighton. They're having a great season themselves, so that'll be a really good game. But we want to win.
But it's in your hands. That's the crucial thing. What a situation to be in with 3 to go.
And again, at the start of the season, if you'd have said that, you'd have snapped someone's arm off for that opportunity. It's in our hands, and we're looking forward to the challenge.
Let's hear from the man who got the Leeds equaliser then, Rasmus Christensen, again with Steve Bauer.
It's like a roller coaster of emotions, where I think from outside it would have been a very exciting game to watch, and it was also a nice game to play. And at the end of the day, we have to be happy with the point.
Is that the big positive to take into these last 2 games now, the way you showed character today?
Yeah, of course. I thought like last week and this week against some of the best teams in the league, 2 from the top 3. I mean, we showed character, we showed quality, we showed that we can compete and in some situations even dominate. And I think today was an even game, could have gone both ways. But at the end of the day, and of course, when you get the 2-2 late in the game, you have to be happy with the point.
And you got them the point. I know it took a deflection off Kieran Trippier, but have you caught many volleys like that in your career?
No, that might have been the first one.
Some strike.
Yeah, I'm just happy to see it go in. I mean, sometimes you just, in those situations, when you gather the ball on the edge of the box, you just try to close your eyes and hope for the best.
And it doesn't matter where the goals come from in the last 2 games, does it?
I couldn't care less.
Rasmus Christensen, see everything on Match of the Day, which, because of Eurovision, is on BBC 2 tonight at 10 o'clock. Have Notts County settled a little bit in the National League playoff final? Chris Coles.
A little bit, Mark. Yes, they're keeping the ball with more regularity, but Chesterfield continue to offer the bigger threat, and Liam Mandeville and Andrew Dallas, who scored the only goal of the game from the penalty spot, continue to cause Notts County problems. 15 minutes to play until half-time. I don't think many saw this scoreline coming. Chesterfield 1, Notts County 0.
So if you want the Rugby Union Premiership semi-final, then that is on Sports Extra here on 5 Live. Full hour of sports report on the way before 6:06. And that all follows the second half from Old Trafford. Manchester United lead Wolves by a 1-0. Back to Pat and Ian.
Did you read out that Tottenham statistic in the half-time interval?
No, I don't think so.
It's called Toothless Tottenham, and they failed to have a single shot in the first half, and it's the first time that they've failed to have a shot before half-time in a Premier League game since September 2021.
Well done, good stat.
Thank you. Multitasking as ever.
Well, submit who gave it you?
Hey, Chris Collinson. But he also sent it to you, and that's why I checked.
All right.
Anyway, neither side has made a change, as in the sunshine and under clear blue skies we're about to get underway. Manchester United with De Gea in goal, a back 4 of Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Lindelof and Shaw. Wolves are going to make a change though. Fernandes, Casemiro, Eriksen, Sancho, Martial, the goal scorer, and Anthony. And the change for Wolves is that Hee-Chan Hwang has come on and has replaced Pedro Neto. So Bentley is in goal, making his debut. Semedo, Dawson, Kilman and Totti is the defence. And now you've got Lamina, Neves and Mateus as a midfield 3 with Hwang, Cunha and Costa. For Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are all in grey and were awful in that first half. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, they had to change something. I was wondering if they're going to change the way that they're set up. Looks maybe a little bit closer to a 4-2-3-1 that Wolves are maybe going to try and go to at the start of the second half. But the one change in personnel. But if you're playing against a team at the bottom of the league, and this is where United have been quite lucky here, they would have given a much bigger fight so far. But, these games can change in the second half. And Lamina started well.
Lamina driving forward as well and passes the ball out towards Cunha, back towards Lamina. Certainly can't be as bad as they were in the first half as the cross comes in and it's headed out by Varane. There's now been a goal at St Mary's. John Akers.
And it's for Fulham. It looks like the end for Southampton. Southampton 0, Fulham 1. Vinicius with a tap-in on the line in front of the Fulham fans just after Southampton had the ball in the net at the other end, but the flag went up against Alcaraz for offside. Cruel. Southampton 0, Fulham 1.
So 2 significant scorelines affecting the bottom of the Premier League. Southampton will be relegated today, and Nottingham Forest, still leading at Chelsea by a 0-0, will go 5 points clear of the relegation zone. And after it finished Leeds United 2, Newcastle United 2 earlier, with Forest on 36 points, you would think that would be enough. And with Southampton then going down, you're then looking at 2 from 3 of Leicester, Leeds United and Everton. Let's get an update in the rugby. Adam Whitty's watching Saracens Northampton.
And we've not even had half an hour. Saracens have got 3 semi-final tries. Ivan Van Sale splitting the Saints defence in centre field to run 30 metres to score. Saints just can't deal with this. Sarri's destined for Twickenham already, you'd think. Saracens 21, Saints 3, 32 minutes gone.
Commentary continues on Sports Extra. Anthony, meanwhile, wins a corner for Manchester United with a shot that is deflected behind in front of the Stretford end. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, Martial made a good run to the right-hand side there. He's not an out-and-out striker-type player most of the time anyway, so he gets in a good area. But again, everything seems to be falling to Anthony, doesn't it? I would say that's his third very decent chance he's had in the game. However, he has been the difference because he's getting into good positions and he's made one.
Cross comes in from Shaw on the far side, headed away by Wolves, drops towards Sancho, tries to hit a right-footed curling effort, blocked, put back in by Casemiro, cleared by Dawson for Wolves, and out of play it goes for a throw, as it's then Sancho to take it quickly. The atmosphere soporific at times in this first half as Casemiro plays it forward. There was Dawson on the edge of the area, dived in at the second time, has been caught by Martial as he reacted there, and Dawson has stayed down as Semedo brings it clear. He's still on his knees, is the central defender Lemina, then to Mateus.
His teammates aren't really bothered, are they? He just kept on playing.
Kilmarnock are leading Livingston by a 1-0 at Rugby Park. So Kilmarnock, who are only a point clear of bottom of the table, Ross County, are 1-0 up at home to Livy. Ross County still drawing at Dundee United 1-1 as Manchester United give the ball away.
I was down at Rugby Park last week for a friend of mine who's written a book actually about doing the Marathon des Sables. I don't know if you know about that. It is said to be the hardest race in the world, and he managed to finish it. He used to play for Kelly, Davis Riley.
I take it if he's training for a marathon, he wouldn't be sampling any of those fine pies at Rugby Park.
It doesn't look as if he's had one in about 10 years.
So Killia leading. Sancho runs away from Semedo on this near side. Martial goes ahead of him. Here is Martial now with his back to goal, looking to turn, pulls it back. Eriksson just outside the D, blocked by Lemina, comes out to Casemiro, 35 yards out from goal. Eriksson towards Shaw. Lemina has stayed down after that effort, wrapped into his shins, and Lemina is still in trouble. Manchester United are actually saying put the ball out of play. Bruno Fernandes was the one to put it out of play, and the Manchester United fans react angrily to that decision as Shaw obliges, and it will be a stoppage in play and a throw to Manchester United.
Do you know, it's strange that because, the referees, it's his decision when the play should stop, and most of the time I think, oh, don't bother, because it's almost certain the guy's acting it. He's not acting there. I'm convinced he's not there, and I think what's happened is he's damaged his ligaments there in his left ankle as the ball was shot at him. It's bent them round. And there's certain players you wouldn't stop for. Yeah, I'd stop for him.
Yeah, I think that happened to Alan Smith for Manchester United at Liverpool.
Yeah,
I think he got in the way of a John Arna-Risa shot, and he was had a long time out as a result. So we're going to have a stoppage in play here, where Manchester United is still leading Wolves by 1-0 to Stamford Bridge. John Southall.
Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Really strong start by Forest in this second half. Chance corner on the right hand side by Lodi. Felipe flicked it on at the near post, and Niakate stretching at the back post, couldn't put it in. Chelsea 0, Forest 1.
The results earlier: Leeds United 2, Newcastle United 2, Rangers 3, Celtic 0. Latest from Villa Park from Pat Murphy.
Villa still lead 1-0. Yet again, it could have been 2-0 a moment ago. Buendia, lovely sleight of foot, left foot chip, palmed away by Forster, who's been very good in the Tottenham goal, unlike the rest of his teammates. Villa 1, Tottenham 0.
I've got some news for you, Pat. There's been an injury at Selhurst Park. Maz Faruqi.
Yeah, Zaha, he's gone down requiring treatment. I think it's a right hamstring problem, perhaps. He's been replaced by Odsonne Edouard. Palace still lead through that Eze goal just before half-time. Palace 1, Bournemouth 0.
And in the League One playoffs, Bolton, Barnsley, Will Perry.
Bolton 0, Barnsley 0. Early stages in this second half, and Devante Cole, son of Andy, couldn't steer a decent Williams cross on target. Down the other end, a Morley free kick, beautifully positioned, but no Bolton player on the end of it. 0-0.
There's been another goal. It's at Stamford Bridge. John Southall.
Big one in the relegation battle. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Across from the right-hand side, there was Raheem Sterling, 12 yards out, took a slight deflection into the top right-hand corner. Chelsea 1, Nottingham Forest 1.
So Chelsea have equalised there against Nottingham Forest, 1-1 at Stamford Bridge. Crystal Palace 1, Bournemouth 0, Southampton 0, Fulham 1, Aston Villa leading Spurs by a 1-0. So how does that affect the bottom of the table? Well, it would look like this now, that Forest would have 34 points. So that would still be, that would take them 3 clear of Leeds United, who are the last side in that relegation zone. So Forest would go to 34, Everton 32, Leeds 31 is how it currently stands. Back to Villa Park we go. Pat.
Still 1-0, nearly the equaliser. Harry Kane, 12 yards out on his right foot, only had the keeper to beat. Martinez guessed, went to his left, blocked it. How important is that moment? Villa 1, Tottenham 0.
Thank you, Pat. We're back underway here at Old Trafford in the glorious sunshine as Lamina looks like he's all right to continue after lengthy treatment, Pat.
Yeah, good news. He's been one of the best players on the pitch today, certainly by some distance the best player playing for Wolverhampton Wanderers. So they didn't want him to come off, and there was a little flashover to the dugout, and they looked very worried when he went down.
Deflection almost took it into the path of Martial, cleared away by Daniel Bentley, the debutant in goal for Wolverhampton Wanderers at McDermott Park. It's St Johnstone 0, Motherwell 1. That's in the Scottish Premiership. Wolves trailing by a 0. Neves holding on to the ball and waiting for the run of Nelson Semedo. He hits it earlier towards Hwang. Hwang makes the run with a cutback. Diego Costa with his back to goal tries to tee up Neves. Neves has to slide into the challenge. He plays it now out towards Hwang. Hwang on the right-hand side. This is promising for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Hwang towards Neves. Neves chips the ball towards the far post. Headed away by Wan-Bissaka. Kept alive by Diego Costa. Totti sends over the cross. Left corner of the area. Hwang's header is then turned behind by Casemiro for a Wolves corner kick.
Do you know what? That really tells the story of that. There wasn't anything particularly brilliant about that attack, but you could see how jittery that Manchester United got, because they know they've not got a big enough gap now. It just takes one half-decent ball into the box and they could be in trouble.
Corner kick. It's going to be taken in front of the travelling support. Neves is going to take it, right-footed on this right-hand side. It's an outswinger. Kilman was up and his header goes off his forehead and well away from goal and out for a goal kick. So Wolves, who won here last season but haven't had consecutive league wins at Old Trafford since the days of Stan Cullis in the early 60s, still trail by a 0.
And I hate jumping back too far in time though, but I liked your line about have I got news for you, Pat. Yes, on our cameras was
Angus Dayton.
Correct. Well done. Very impressed with that.
Yeah. It's rubbing off your influence. It's rubbing off on me. It's very much an in-house gag.
Very much.
The listener was unable to see that.
That's why I'm telling.
As David De Gea clears downfield. And a reminder that a full hour of Sports Report with Mark Chapman at 5. And there is a special Monday Night Club with Mark Chapman at 7 on Monday. You'll be able to watch it as well as listen. You can watch it on the BBC iPlayer. And then after tomorrow's 5 Live Premier League Sunday from midday, Everton Manchester City at 2 and Arsenal Brighton and Hove Albion at 4:30. We're back on our travels again next week. Tuesday night back in San Siro for Inter against Milan. Wednesday we're at the Etihad for Manchester City, Real Madrid, and then we're going Dutch on Thursday. AZ Alkmaar against West Ham United. All 3 will be live on BBC Radio 5 Live. And Hamilton, a complete turnaround, and now leading Alloa by 5-2. Semedo with a cross sends over from the right-hand side, and that means that it is 5-3 on aggregate. But at one stage they were 3-0 down on aggregate, and they've completely turned it around at New Douglas Park in that Scottish Championship playoff. Pat.
Yeah, really good play down the right-hand side there from Wills. A brilliant ball into the near post. And it's one of those ones where Costa couldn't get ahead of Wan-Bissaka, whereas in the past, that was me and Drinkton, wasn't it? He would have been in there, he'd have put his head on it, he'd have muscled Wan-Bissaka out of the way, but that was a half chance there for Wolves.
Corner taken short on the left-hand side. Neves with the cross. Dawson was up from the back. Another header behind, another corner kick for Wolves. urged on by the travelling support. Manchester United looking to move level with Newcastle United on 66 points in the race for Champions League qualification. And it's Wolves, who actually have taken 5 points off Manchester United in their last 4 visits, looking for an equaliser. Neves, right-hand side, right-footed. Kilman with a downward header, off-target goal kick.
Again, but he gets his head to it. You know, it's not a clean header. He's got players around him, but they're getting the first touches from these corner kicks now, Wolves, and they've had quite a few in this game. So, again, you just have to say to United, they need to put this game, you know, to bed, because 1-0, it would be the least shocking result before the game. I would say the biggest guess, the most often guessed result of this game would have been 1-0. But it's not a foregone conclusion, because there are quality players and you just need that moment of brilliance or luck or a set piece, and that was the set piece that nearly gave them a chance for Wolves.
That's the familiar voice of Pat Nevin here on BBC Radio 5 Live. A reminder tonight, Match the Day, because of the Eurovision Song Contest on BBC One, Match the Day on a slightly earlier time, but on BBC Two at 10 o'clock. Villa still lead Spurs 1-0. Chelsea 1, Forest 1. Crystal Palace 1, Bournemouth 0. Southampton 0, Fulham 1. Sancho to Varane. Wan-Bissaka. And then the ball played out by Lindelof along the ground. Martial lays it off. Bruno Fernandes coming in off that right touchline in space to Antony ahead of him on the right-hand side. He enters the penalty area, pulls it back to Bruno Fernandes onto his right foot, backheels the ball towards Antony, who shoots, and it almost found its way through, but it's gone behind. Deflected for a corner kick. We'll get a quick rugby update with Adam Whitty.
Saracens giving Saints a torrid time in this semi-final. They lead 21-3 at half-time. Owen Farrell leading a kicking masterclass that Northampton just cannot handle. Visitors missing several big chances to get themselves back in the game at the end of the half. Saracens look final bound. They lead 21-3 at half-time.
Second half will be on Sports Extra. We're going to Selhurst Park after the corner kick. It's taken on that far side, the right. It almost comes out towards Sancho. So a goal at Crystal Palace. Maz Faruqi.
Fabulous goal for Berry Eze, his second of the afternoon. Palace's second of the afternoon. A brilliant individual effort. Roy Hodgson has a big smile on his face on the touchline. Palace 2, Bournemouth 0.
It'll take Palace to 43 points. It's hard to believe that at one stage that Crystal Palace faced the threat of relegation. Meanwhile, down at the other end, what a brilliant little bit of work that was from Varane. It was cleared long towards Diego Costa. On the stretch, he's lifted the ball up with his first touch and then followed it away with his second touch as Wolves prepare for a second change. Dundee United 1, Ross County 2 is the latest score in the Scottish Premiership. Bottom of the table, Ross County are back in front against one of their relegation rivals. And I'm hearing Chelsea 2, Nottingham Forest 1. John Southall.
Raheem Sterling has just curled a delightful goal into the top right-hand corner, and Nottingham Forest, who are leading by a goal to nil, now trail Chelsea 2-1.
So history repeating itself in West London, just exactly what happened at Brentford just a few weeks ago. Wolves, meanwhile, coming forward as Diego Costa kicks the ball angrily into the advertising hoardings and seems to exchange a few words with some disgruntled United supporters as Bruno Fernandes is down in front of the Stretford end.
Yeah, I think it should have been a foul here. Tackle, I don't think he gets anywhere near the ball. Kilman goes over there. Fernandes stays down. It's difficult to know if he has get any real injury, you know. Probably the injury from the fall, not from any kick that he got. But he should have had a free kick there. And I can understand why a number of players in red are a bit annoyed about that just now, but it does give the opportunity for Wolves to make a couple of changes.
So whilst those changes are taking place, we will go to Wembley, half-time in the National League playoff final. Chris Coles.
Chesterfield 1, Notts County 0. Andrew Dallas early penalty. He won it and scored it. They've been much the better, created the more dangerous openings, albeit signs of life from Notts County as the half drew to a close. Aaron Naman shooting straight at Ross Fitzsimons, but it's Chesterfield, 45 minutes away from the Football League. They lead Notts County 1-0.
Hugo Bueno has come on to replace Totti at left back. Daniel Podence has replaced Cunha in attack for Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are still trailing by a 1-0. Southampton are getting relegated as it stands. John Akers.
They need to find 2. They need to win. Southampton 0, Fulham 1, 63 minutes gone, and the Fulham fans are on their feet because Alexander Mitrovic is about to be introduced as a substitute here. They're chanting Mitro in the background. He's coming on after his 8-match ban. It's Southampton 0, Fulham 1.
And then really it's a case of as you were with Nottingham Forest squandering that lead. They will remain on 33 points, just 2 points ahead of Leeds United after that 2-2 draw at home to Newcastle United earlier. Latest in the top flight, Villa still leads Spurs by 1-0. We've told you Chelsea 2, Forest 1, Crystal Palace 2, Bournemouth 0, Southampton 0, Fulham 1, as you've just heard, and it is still 1-0 here to Manchester United.
There's an incredible score down at Stamford Bridge there, because Raheem Sterling has had a very difficult season, and Chelsea fans were booing him onto the field at the Bournemouth game recently, so big moment for him.
Well, another goal at Chelsea. John Southall.
Oh, what a game this is. Chelsea 2, Nottingham Forest 2. They're back in it. They won't give up. Awoniyi, with his second of the game, has just headed in from 5 yards out. Chelsea 2, Forest 2.
Could still be a precious point for Steve Cooper's side. 1-0 to Manchester United. They will want the second goal. If, like Newcastle, then they would go 4 points clear of Liverpool, then with all 3 sides looking for those 2 remaining places in Champions League qualification, fighting it out with Newcastle, Manchester United and Liverpool. But Liverpool would have to try and overcome that 4-point deficit. There's now been a goal in the League One playoff. Bolton Wanderers, Barnsley, Will Perry.
It's come in the 63rd minute. It's Bolton 0, Barnsley 1, and it's a beautiful strike from Nicky Cadden. It's from a corner, edge of the box, left-footed. It goes through about 4 or 5 Bolton defenders, nestles into the bottom right-hand corner past James Trafford. Barnsley have the advantage. 1-0 they lead at Bolton.
Bruno Fernandes attacking, enters the penalty area left-hand side, pulls it back and shoots, spooned away by Bentley and then cleared away by Neves for Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Just that moment there, the pass, I think it was, I'm pretty sure it was Ruben Neves there. He goes to pass it to the right fullback. Said there was no right fullback. He completely missed it straight into the path for the second time in this game, and this time it was Bruno who got on the end of it. What an almost hilarious, but looks like a through ball, except for the wrong team. And he's a quality player, but that was a bad moment for him.
Well, here is Wan-Bissaka to Bruno Fernandes, who tries to play a delicate ball, a low ball in towards the penalty area. Wolves have cleared it away. As Eriksson, every outfield player in the Wolves half, passes the ball now out towards Anthony on the right-hand side. Anthony, short, inside. Bruno Fernandes, Wan-Bissaka with his back to goal. Tees up Eriksson. Eriksson, 24 yards out. He passes the ball back. Varane joins the attack for Manchester United. Moves it out towards the right-hand side. Anthony to Bruno Fernandes. Wolves defending deep. Manchester United lead by 1-0. 64 minutes played. Lindelof coming forward now, switches play towards Casemiro, floats it over, nobody is there. The one person it would please, I guess, is Roberto Martinez to say that at least his players were on the same wavelength.
Yeah. Do you know, talking about players, the manager's been on the same wavelength. What you need is a little bit of pace for the attack, don't you, for Wolves just now. They've not really gone beyond. I'm having a look at that bench, and Adama Traore's on that bench. I mean, just to disrupt it a little bit, you'd think he should be on by now, just to create a little bit of havoc, even just to create space for other players. I'm really surprised he's not, unless he's not fully fit.
Kilmarnock could have got a second goal at Rugby Park at home to Livingston. Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 0. The latest from Villa Park comes from Pat Murphy.
Still 1-0 to Villa, but they've gone very close. Tottenham, Kulusevski on a substitute, lost Mourinho, pulled it back on his left foot across the face of the goal, just past Martinez's right post. It's still Villa 1, Tottenham 0.
This is Semedo on the halfway line. He goes back to Dawson. Manchester United still have a slender lead. It remains 2-2 at Stamford Bridge. 2-0 to Palace at Selhurst Park. Southampton going down as they trail at home to Fulham by 1-0. Neves, deep inside his own half. Diego Costa, short ball out towards the left-hand side to Bueno. And out of play it goes for a throw, signals the referee, John Brooks.
They went ultra positive when they've got the ball just now. The amount of Wolves players that are going forward now, they've not done a great deal with it, but it makes you think, can they be broken on now? Because they are committing 3, 4, 5 forward at all opportunities, there's going to be a gap to run into there, and it's just whether some of the players that are capable, such as Anthony and Sancho, will make good use of that. Sancho's been very quiet, as has Anthony in the second half, but Sancho, you could almost say that about him, about the entire game.
Yeah, that's Pat Nevin, knows all about wing play, of course, during his illustrious career. Manchester United's 3 remaining fixtures. They're away to Bournemouth, they're at home to Chelsea, and then they finish off the campaign at home to Fulham. Newcastle United, who've had such an excellent season under Eddie Howe, have also got 2 home games. Brighton and Hove Albion on Thursday, Leicester at home on the 22nd, and then they travel to Chelsea on the final day, whilst Liverpool, who as it stands are 4 points behind those 2 sides, are at Leicester on Monday, Villa at home next Saturday, and then Southampton away. Southampton, who will certainly be relegated, if not today, by then. And as it stands, the Saints are going down today as they still trail at home to Fulham by 1-0. Midway through the second half, 5 Live, the World Service, and also available on BBC Sounds. Wout Weghorst is going to be coming on for Manchester United. The 3 points aren't just as yet secure. Ball played forward. Manchester United, Martial slips inside the penalty area just as Anthony had made that run into the central area, tried to tee him up. Bruno Fernandes retrieves it on that far side. He waits, he shifts it on the outside of Bueno, delivers the cross, corner kick to Manchester United. Goal meanwhile at Bolton, Will Perry.
It's a big one because Bolton are back in it. They weren't behind for long. Bolton won, Barnsley won. Ball from the left-hand side, and the main man, Dion Charles, stabbing home inside the 6-yard box. Goal number 21 for the season. Bolton are level, 1-1.
Certainly a lot tighter at Bolton than it was at London Road last night, where Peterborough United beat Sheffield Wednesday by 4-0. And the change here is going to be like for like, and it's the goal scorer Anthony Martial is coming off his goal, his 8th of the season. The difference between the 2 sides just past the half hour. He makes way, and Wout Weghorst comes on.
He's actually been incredibly quiet during this game. He scored the goal, and he'll get the headlines. The centre forward's life. Had he not scored that goal, he'd probably been booed off.
In it comes, corner kick, or appeals for handball. More from the crowd than the United players from that right-hand side. Just over 20 minutes remaining, and Wolves now can maybe break here. And this is Podence. And Podence has got Hwang ahead of him, and he tries to find Hwang, and the goalkeeper's come out of his goal, and he caught him, did he there? The referee's had a look at it. He dropped to his knees. De Gea retreats to his goal. Hwang had to go out very, very wide on that left-hand side.
Well, Hwang goes down thinking, I'll see if the referee gives us a free kick here, and obviously De Gea would be in massive trouble if he didn't get to the ball. But there was no touch, so he went down expecting the touch. But of course, VAR, you can't do that anymore. You're not going to get away with it.
Here is Mateus. Mateus with the cross. Hwang with a header, and it's directed well off target from the South Korean. 20 minutes remain. However, just that little breakaway there would signify that
his pace, though.
Yeah,
his pace. I keep on saying
Traore.
You need something with pace to go and ask some of the questions. They just haven't got that one. Diego Costa, he works very, very hard, but he's not got the explosive pace to get away from people like Varane.
Remember, Southampton have to win. There's been another goal. John Akers.
And surely their 11-year stay in the Premier League is over. Southampton 0, Fulham 2, and wouldn't you know it, off the bench, it's Mitrovic who stands in front of the Fulham fans who are on their feet. A diving, stooping header. Southampton 0, Fulham 2.
So that will be the first relegation berth filled from this season's Premier League, with Manchester United here looking to try and secure Champions League qualification, leading by 1-0, but with Forest still drawing 2-2 at Chelsea. They're on 34 points, Reading down, Everton 32. Then into the relegation zone we go. Leeds United 31, Leicester City 30, although Everton and Leicester City both have games in hand on Leeds and Forest. And in fact, tomorrow's commentary in 5 Live Premier League Sunday from midday will be at Goodison. The first of the games, Everton against Manchester City at 2, to be followed by Arsenal against Brighton at 4:30. As a free kick goes in favour of Wolverhampton Wanderers. Pat Nevin.
Isn't it just horrible down there, getting towards this end of the season? If you're an Everton fan, after the Brighton game. You were in seventh heaven. So happy, 5 goals against a very good team away from home, and then you have a look at the league table just now and think, oh my goodness, we're back there again.
Wolves with Hwang sent away. This is Costa on the edge of the area. Costa turns, plays the ball back. Lemina, forward ball. Podence, Mateus tried to give him back. Podence has actually gone down off the ball as he tried to make the run in towards the penalty area. And then it's an underarm throw out by David De Gea, and Sancho is away on the halfway line as Manchester United are held up by Neves. And a goal at Villa Park, Pat Murphy.
The crowd noise will tell you on my effects microphone it's a second for Aston Villa. Douglas Luiz, free kick, about 25 yards out, right foot. I think Forster thought he was going to go left, but he deceived him, just got a hand to it. But a masterful free kick from Douglas Luiz makes it Villa 2, Tottenham 0.
And what's the latest at Stamford Bridge? John Southall.
Well, 20 minutes to play. Chelsea 2, Nottingham Forest 0. As a Chelsea cross just whips over the 6-yard box. Chance for Forest. Lodi on the edge of the penalty area on the volley, hit the stanchion behind the goal. Chelsea 2, Forest 2.
Well, this is going to get interesting. When Pat Nevin talks about pace, you're going to get that and some now with the introduction of Adama Traore with 18 minutes remaining of normal time. Meanwhile, Manchester United try and release Anthony on that far side, but Bueno tidies up and back towards Bentley, the Wolves' debutant goalkeeper.
It's to underline them. Diego Costa has worked incredibly hard, and he's not slow, but you need to be lightning in that position.
Here is Sancho. Sancho carries the ball into the penalty area. Sancho looks like he scored. What a save that was by Bentley. The Wolves keeper down low, turns it behind for a corner kick.
Well, that saved the game, because the game's all over if he scores there. But he seemed to have gone too far. He allowed a little bit of space at that near post, but it was hit with pace. It was hit low. It was going right in the corner, and he just gets the big paw out there, puts it around. That is a fantastic save. It's not one of those flying through the air saves, but it's as good as anyone you'll see. Brilliant save.
He dropped very, very sharply to his right-hand side. His arm almost tucked in, but he still managed to flick it away. A strong right arm from Daniel Bentley. As Eriksson with the corner kick, easily headed out by Dawson. It remains 1-0, 16 minutes remaining. So Villa 2, Tottenham 0, Palace 2, Bournemouth 0. Southampton getting relegated, trailing at home to Fulham by 2-0. We'll get the latest now from Stamford Bridge. Chelsea Forest, John Southall.
Chelsea 2, Nottingham Forest 2. Chelsea making a couple of changes here. Havertz and Ziyech are both coming on for them. Can Forest hang on to this or get a win that would surely confirm their safety? Chelsea 2, Forest 2.
Well, they have only picked up 6 points on their travels. Lemina is the player who's coming off. Adama Traore is going to replace him. So that will be the final change that Wolves were allowed to make, as Ross County have got a third goal at Tannadice. Only a point separated them. Dundee United were 10th this morning, Ross County bottom, in between Kilmarnock on 31, but Killie are leading Livingston by 2-0. So Dundee United are going to really feel that down at the bottom of the table today as Ross County lead 3-1. In comes the free kick, flicked in and then flicked behind for a corner kick to United in front of the Stretford end. Pat Nevin.
That's a very good ball in there by Eriksson. Again, another player who's not absolutely shone today, but he put in a really decent ball there, and it's one of those ones, the flick head on could have gone anywhere. As it is, it's gone out for a corner kick. Now they've finally got Traore on. This is the best chances that Wolves have got. If they can go and win a corner kick or win the ball from United's corner, they will break with pace, and that could be dangerous.
15 minutes remain. Still United lead by 1-0. Bruno Fernandes with the corner kick. It's headed behind from Kilman. Under real pressure, actually, as 2 red shirts surrounded him, but the central defender stood firm, heads it behind for another corner kick, but instead on that far side, the right, it's this near side, the left, in front of the tunnel area here, still under clear blue skies on a very warm afternoon in Manchester. Sun shining, corner kick, Eriksson to take it. Eriksson near side, the left, right-footed, well claimed by Bentley. Now, is the early distribution on for the counter-attack? The answer to that is no.
It was so deep, Traore there. You're thinking to yourself, look, you stay on the 18-yard line, because if you do catch the ball and your keeper, you're going to have a little bit of a start. He started very, very deep when the keeper caught the ball there, and by the time he looked up, Manchester United players are all over the place there. Needs to start on the edge of the box there, Traore.
Well, we've got a full hour of sports report coming up. I'm sure we'll hear reflections of Eddie Howe and Sam Allardyce after that 2-2 draw at Ellen Road that certainly was full of incident. Sam Allardyce was saying ahead of the game it was imperative that Leeds United got something from it, and they've duly obliged. They travel to another of Sam's former sides, West Ham, next weekend, and then they finish off at home to Tottenham Hotspur, and that's what Sam Allardyce wants, still to be within touching distance going into that final game. Can you imagine the atmosphere at Ellen Road on that particular day? And with Forest drawing 2-2 at Chelsea at the moment, Southampton are getting relegated as they trail 2-0 at home to Fulham. And I thought they'd used all their substitution allowances, but they haven't. They've still got one more of Wolves, and it's going to be Jimenez who's going to be coming on, and it is going to be Diego Costa who's coming off.
Yeah, and again, he's not had a great impact in the game, although he has worked incredibly hard. But he just looks, he's not quite the player that he was in the past. He never was particularly pacey, but he was quick and sharp over 2 or 3 yards in the box. And he's not scored a lot of goals since he's come over to the game, and it's tough to play with that type of player up front if you're not scoring goals.
Yeah, 1 goal in 24 now. I've just realised why. One of the other substitutions was at half-time, wasn't it, for Wolverhampton Wanderers? So Jimenez is on. Hearts have got a goal back at St Mirren. St Mirren 2, Hearts 1. An update now from Pat at Villa.
It's still Villa 2, Tottenham 0. A carnival atmosphere here. Surely Villa won't let this one slip, although Tottenham have stirred themselves as Basuma came on the substitute in midfield. But that goal by Luiz has killed off Tottenham, surely, with around 12 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Villa 2, Tottenham 0.
Yeah, that would take Villa level with Tottenham Hotspur as they look for European football. However, Brighton and Hove Albion are just 2 points behind, but Brighton have 3 games in hand on Villa and Spurs. Vital game down at the bottom. Nottingham Forest battling for a point. John Southall.
Chelsea 2, Nottingham Forest 2. Raheem Sterling just bursting through the middle. Ziyech with the cross, cleared behind for a Chelsea corner. Chelsea 2, Forest 2.
1-0 it remains, 12 minutes remaining, and it was Casemiro who has just caught free kick to Manchester United.
Do you know, if you look at the team that Wolves have got out just now, with Jimenez up front, with Traore's pace, with Hwang and his pace as well, they actually look more dangerous now than they have at any point in the game.
Anthony, forward ball. Bruno Fernandes barged off the ball with the sheer strength of Kilman. Marshalled behind for a goal kick to Wolves, who still trail 1-0.
And if you're a Wolves fan, you're looking at thinking, could we not have done this a wee bit earlier? There's only 10